Hey guys, Nightfall here. Today we have a special guest to the channel who agreed to do a deck profile for me. He recently got top 4 at the Austrian Nationals. So yeah, do you want to introduce yourself to the world?
Hello, yeah, I am Gerhard. I recently got top four at my nationals in Austria. Yeah.
Okay, nice, nice. So he actually agreed for us to show us his deck profile here and to go over the choices here. And yeah, we can start with the deck profile first. So first of all, we have the, these the so we start with Tuquem. How did Tuquem feel about you? A lot of people just play one, but you decided to play two. How did Tuquem feel about you?
Quem felt very nice to have. It's like Quem alone in the deck doesn't do anything, but in like all your two card combos, she's really strong, and yeah, you pretty much always want access to her. Also, like starting with her and Planet Fusion can give you access to your Cartesia, which is also really important. So I feel like two is like pretty much needed. Like I would never cut her down to one, I think, for
Yep,
this format.
yep, sounds good. And then the two Luber, a lot of people play three, but you decided to play two. Did you want to balance on the normal summon so you don't brick on so many?
Yeah, exactly. Like pretty much most of your bad hands contain too many normal summons, and this is why I decided on two Aluba. Also, there's like so many ways to branded fusion and your other engine cards that yeah, I don't think three is needed at all. So yeah, I just wanted to have less normal summons, so I cut it down to two.
Yep, yep, that sounds right. And then you have two Mercurial here, so how did two Mercurial feel about for you? You play a lot of darkness, so that actually makes a lot of sense to play two.
Yeah, it's like without Allure of Darkness, I would probably still play only one, but with Allure of Darkness, you often go for through the first one just with Allure. Um, but still, two without Allure is still fine because sometimes you even send it and banish it with, for example, a Bystial, and then the second one comes up with that play also. So yeah,
Yep, yep.
mostly for Allure, but also still in other places it's still good to have the second one.
So what do you think about playing? So you play one tragedy. So what do you think playing more tragedies over more Mercurius? Because a lot of people just choose to play Allure with more tragedies other than Mercurial. What do you think about that?
You could do that, but mm, I feel like you never really need a second tragedy, and you sometimes go through the two Mercuria. So I feel like yeah, two Mercuria comes up more often than the two tragedy. Tragedy is most of the time a better banish of Allure because it just gets you Aluba and a real starter instead of like maybe Kit, which is the same but gets you you have one card less in hand after that. So that's why I think the two Mercuria uh yeah is just it just comes up more often that you have the second one in your deck.
Sounds good. And then you play one Spring and Skid. How did you feel about this card?
Um, this card, like you don't really want to have this as your like quote unquote starter to get branded fusion in your first turn, but it's really good to have here in the grind game because for example you can if you use retribution you can get back retribution. You can also if you for example banish the with duplication your branded fusion you can get those cards back. Sometimes people banish your lost with the with an SP, for example. Uh, and yeah, you just get your banished cards back. So in grind games, most of the time, she's really important. Also, she is searchable of the like Mercuria and also Lost, and sometimes that comes up also. So yeah, I would always play at least yeah, pretty much always one kit, not more, not less. It just comes up a lot.
Yep, sounds good. And then you play three Cartesias. So do you want to reduce the number of Cartesias as well, or did you feel three was absolutely mandatory and you felt you just always want to draw the card?
So for this format, I wouldn't cut her down. It's like all your combos get infinitely better with Cartesia. Also, since people are playing a lot of like Ghost Mourner, Effect Veiler, Imperm, you just need the Cartesia to dodge those and play through those hand traps. Yeah, so I think it's like mandatory to have her at 3 just to always have access to her.
Yep. And then you have three Albas, that's like standard, we won't talk
Yeah.
about that. And then triple Shrouded Dragon is like, a lot of people just move to 3 Shrouded, but some people are still playing 1, so what do you think about this card? Is it like 3 is mandatory, or do you think like 1 is the wave?
Mm, I don't think 3 is absolutely mandatory, but the card gives you so much consistency with like yeah, just dumping pretty much everything you need from the deck to the grave and then just replacing itself with a card. There are so many times where you just yeah, send retribution, send branded fusion, get your access to your place via that. So I would always play 3, but I can see why people would play only 1. But yeah, for me it will probably always be 3.
Hmm. And then you have both Bestios here. Those are absolutely mandatory for every deck for the combos. The only one that's like probably non-standard for the main deck is Magnamut. So what do you think about Magnamut in the main in this format?
So Magnamut in deck building and Fury, it felt good to have it because yeah, you against the Snake Esports you can banish the IP uh, against Voiceless. It's really good. I wanted to have something like that against Melodious. It's also really good. But this is probably the only card in my deck that I would maybe cut or replace for another card because in tournament he was like if I had like weaker or worse hands, he was pretty much always a contributor to that. So I probably would cut him. Yeah,
Yeah, understandable. He can be like either the best card or he can contribute to your brick hands. That's
yeah,
understandable. Okay, so now that's standard for everyone. So we don't need to
yeah.
explain this. Then triple fusion, three opening, three deployments like standard for every branded deck. Like double high spirits. So how did you feel about playing double high spirits? I think like still a lot of people just play either 0 or 1. So how did you feel about playing double high spirit?
Um, it's yeah. I liked two. You mostly uh like you only sometimes want to draw it because the dragon count in the deck isn't that high. But if you draw it with, for example, opening, or you can just discard it of Lubellion, it's like one of your best discards in the deck because it's always if you just need it for the discard, it just adds itself back. Also, if you need it, you can always search it of Aluba. So most of the time, if you have like a dragon and a way to Aluba, you don't search the branded fusion because with high spirits, dumping a dragon, jumping Titanic lad, you probably can get like yeah. Worst case, you can just search kit with it, or if you have other ways to branded fusion, you get it. Um, you mostly just get it after you resolve the branded in high spirits anyway, and pretty much nobody is ashing it. Yeah, two felt yeah the best number because yeah you there's like the meme you want to see it sometimes but not all the times, and yeah it's pretty much that for that card at
Yep.
the moment.
Yep, that sounds like a discard, yes. So, yeah, okay, one branded in red. A lot of people just play two, and some people still play one. So, what do you think about playing two against like one? Do you think like two is like fine, or do you think like one is just pretty much enough all the time?
I feel like one is pretty much enough all the time. You like you need it for your first turn and combo.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need it again in your grind game, you can reset it off tragedy. You can get it back via retribution. There are ways to get it back, but I feel like if you play the deck properly or good, you don't really need the second one most of the time. Um, like it would probably only come up in really strange grind games, but most of the time, by the time you would set the second branded in red or need the second branded in red, the game is probably over anyway. So I think one is the correct
Mm-hmm.
ratio for this card.
Yep. So then we have the one loss. That's standard. Triple trust is standard. So you decided to play double talent. A lot of people just play one. So why did you bump this card up to two?
I felt like in testing, a lot of people are on hand traps. So having the talents is really good in those cases. Also against Tempai, it's like really really good if they hand trap you once and you can just talent look at the hand, and if they only have one engine card, which a lot of the times is the case, you take away all their plays. I wanted to see it more, so I bumped it up to two.
Yep. Sounds about alright. Okay, then you play triple droplet. So first, like before you explain why do you think like this card is better than Super Poly like in this format in general?
In I feel like this card in this format is way better than Super Poly, especially because if you want to play Super Poly, you need like at least two cards in your extra deck as space,
Mm-hmm.
and I just can't see where you can fit that space. Especially just the main deck, you would probably have to cut like Granguinol and something else, like cut Granguinol to one, but like all your combos need the second one. So I feel like at the moment with how the format is and the extra deck is set up, I just can't really see how you can fit the Super Poly, and also Droplet deals with it deals with the melodious board, it deals with the voiceless board, it deals with a lot of the Snake Eyes board. Um, it's probably, I feel like, even better than Super Poly against those decks most of the time.
Yep, sounds about alright. And then yeah, the one Gold Sark and the one Foolish is like just a more consistency card
Consistency.
you want card. Yep,
Yeah,
like those. And then yeah, the Cold by the Grave, the Ash Stopper, the Shifter Stopper.
yeah,
This is like
you need that.
mandatory. So you decided like we talked about it earlier to play a Rule of Darkness. How did you feel about playing this card? Because a lot of people decided to cut this card from their lists because it's like too RNG based and like sometimes it can break you depending on because sometimes you won't open a dark monster. So how was your experience with a Lure of Darkness for this tournament?
I felt like Allure was like a really good card. Yeah, I can see why you don't want to play it, because, yeah, as you said, sometimes you just don't have the darks. Sometimes you don't want to activate the Allure because like you have only Allure as your start, and then you don't really want it. But especially with the like droplets in the main deck and also the other board breakers in the side, then I felt like Allure was such a nice card to like just draw into those. And yeah, you also have a lot of ways to just get into dark monsters. Like yeah, with the two Mercuria, also opening can just search you a tragedy, and then you get the best value of Allure. And yeah, it just it added so much consistency. I felt like to yeah, being able to outboard if I go second. Yeah, it felt, yeah, for me it felt really nice. But yeah, it can be a bit tricky if you don't draw any darks with it.
Yeah, did you like had the experience in the tournament that you didn't draw it with any darks and like you had to like let's say blind over and get lucky with it or blind over and then
Uh,
like discard your whole hand basically? Did you had like any of those experiences?
Fortunately, I didn't have those in the tournament. I had it sometimes in testing, but yeah, in tournament I either when I used it I already had a dark, or sometimes I just discarded it if I already had all my plays ready. So yeah, the worst case, it was just a discard in my hand in this tournament.
Yep, and yep, that sounds good. And then the last two are like mandatory for every branded deck that plays Trust
Yeah.
and Retribution. Now to move on to the side deck is so first you decided to play three Dark Aura and three evenly matched. So how did you feel about playing those cards over others, or over other breakers, let's say?
Um, it felt like those are like the best to deal with the boards people are making at the moment. I was thinking about like siding, for example, in the bureau over the evenlies, just because people wouldn't be expecting it. However, I played some tournaments before, and like even though people shouldn't be expecting Nibiru, they were just always respecting it. So I decided to go to Evenly because and Dark Ruler. Yeah, Dark Ruler because it just yeah, you Dark Ruler your opponent's board, you clear it, and then you just set a puppet lock, and you win.
Yeah.
And Evenly, it's kind of iffy because you lose your battle phase, but most of the time it's fine. They're like left on one card. Against Snake Eyes, it's strange because sometimes of that one card they get so much back that if you don't manage to do a puppet lock, they can still win after that. But against everything else that isn't pretty much voiceless voice, because that's pretty much the only deck that really puts up an Omni Negate, it breaks the whole board, and after that you set up and just win with puppet or even just with your grind game and follow up.
Yep, that sounds good. And then you have a triple Ash Blossom. So how did Ash Blossom feel like playing hand trap in branded? Like it's a one hand trap, but did you feel like Ash Blossom was like good enough to cover like the matchups you wanted to?
Yeah, so Ash Blossom was like the biggest reason I played Ash Blossom was actually Tempai, because it felt like going first against Tempai. It's the like if they can stop your puppet lock, they still have to like clear your board somehow. And a lot of Tempai players then just go for like the Black Rose under their field spell line. And after they do that, the like only play in the is to go battle phase and go with Sang Kaimen. And if you have Ash for that, they need to pass. Like they probably don't set up anything and need to pass to you. And if that happens, you have so much follow up probably from them clearing your board alone that you just win from that point. So it was a lot for that matchup a lot. It's also for like in the mirror you also side it in because it's like yeah it can stop the turn. Like most of the time it doesn't work, but yeah in theory it's like one of the cards that can stop you getting puppet locked in the mirror. Yeah, I didn't really side it in against any other matchup. It would probably also go in against like runic decks, but I didn't face any. So yeah, in the matchups I wanted it. It performed like really good.
Yep, sounds good. And then you play the one of Shadow Dragon. So how did that? I saw like you cited this card in your game two against like the Fire King. So like, what was your thought process about this card? Was it like he cited you wanted this card against like a super ancient organism? Like because we saw he plays that game three. You think like he cited it going second, and you wanted like a good counter for this?
Yeah, I'm like the person I played in top four, I'm like friends with, and I knew before the tournament already that they are playing, like he's playing the super ancient organism, and I was also playing him in Swiss already, and there he also had the ancient super ancient organism, so I knew I needed to like have an answer to that, and even going first if you puppet lock them and maybe aren't able to set up a furious dragon in the turn already, they can just in the follow-up turn flip up the like just set the super ancient organism, and if you don't have the shadow dragon it's like pretty much impossible to out. So yeah, that's why I sided it in that matchup even going first.
Yep, yep, that sounds like a good reason. Yep.
Yeah.
So now you play the one Change of Heart, the one Duster. So how did you feel about those one-offs? Did it ever? Was it like you regularly search them from trusts?
Um, I searched the change of heart. I once searched off of Rust and took an Appaloosa, and the game was pretty much over from there. Duster, I think the only time I drew it was in my top four match. Yeah, they had cleared an I think it was Droplet and Skill Drain, so that was also really good.
Yep, it was
Um,
definitely like one of the cards that like changed the flow of the game. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I think the like with Snake Eye having the end board with the Hope Harbinger, I'm not really sure if the Change of Heart really is the best card in the slot anymore. But I feel like with Rust, and it's like still one of the best cards to play in that spot. And yeah, as I said, it won me one game where I just took an Appaloosa. So yeah, still felt really good.
Yep. So then the Masquerade, like this is obviously for time. We just still need a time card for going first. Or did you side it
Okay.
against like other matchups, for example, like except for time?
No, I only sided it for time.
Okay, sounds good. And then you have a double fusion duplication. So, like, you decided to play one main and then like double in the side deck. So you sided this for going first. So how did that card feel? Like to have more copies of it post siding?
Um, to be honest, it's like besides Dark Ruler, probably the best card in the side deck. You like if you go first, they most of the people just have like a load of hand traps to stop you. And if that happens and you have branded fusion, for example, if your only play was branded fusion, it gets ashed, and you still have the fusion duplication. You can still just puppet lock them, and if you maybe have even lost up, you can puppet lock them without them having any response window. You just need fusion duplication and any light spellcaster, which you will probably have most of the time. And so yeah, going first, it just wins so many games to draw the fusion duplication. And against some matchups, for example, against Tempai, most of the time Tempai will go first against you after siding and just rely on like D-barrier because they already play it for their own mirror matches. And if you get debarriered on branded fusion and you have the fusion duplication, uh, you play around debarrier in that matchup like with that. In other matchups, most of the deck lists cut debarrier, so there it's not that much needed going second. So going second I pretty much only put it in against Temper or if I knew they were playing debarrier.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Yeah, that's kind of like pretty good. Also, like in the mirror match, it has like a nice application that's probably
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know. You can like target cards from the opponent's grave, which is like kind of nice to do, to like know.
yeah.
So yeah. Okay, now moving on to the extra deck, you have double mirror jade. So how did you feel about like double mirror jade? Like, did you only lose like one per game the entire tournament, or like you needed like two. Like in your top four matches, you needed two because you used the clips and you needed to brand it in right into another one.
Exactly.
But were there other times like you needed two, like in that specific game, or it was just your top four game?
So in this tournament, it was just the top four game, but yeah, like mostly in grind games, the second one comes up. Also, like if you play against Kashtiro or Pure or Kashtiro Snake Guy, if they have a unicorn, they can just take away your Mirror Jade, and playing without Mirror Jade is like really hard after that. So yeah, I felt like two is at the moment mandatory. Yeah, like I said, it also comes up in grind games sometimes where you maybe don't have like a Quem to reborn it or a Albion to reborn it, where you just need to make the second one. Also sometimes when they out your Mirror Jade, it's nice to just have the second one. Um, yeah,
Yep,
just to get back into the game.
yep. That sounds like a good reason. And then this is like standard, the one Lubellion, Chimera, Rindbrum, and Titanic lot. So here, did you wanted to like play any other targets like Alba's targets that like Titanic Quad is like obviously mandatory, but did you want to play like cards like a Sprint, for example, or Brigant in the extra deck? Did you like miss any of those for like a good Mirror Jade Send, for example?
No, I don't think any others are at the moment necessary. Like for your standard first turn combo, you need the Albion and you need the Titanic Head. And then like most of the time your in the opponent's turn, your first hand is the Rindrum because yeah, you get more interruption if you can reborn an Albers with that. And after that, I don't think you need any of the other sense, at least at the moment.
Yep. And then the next one are like one Sanctifier, one Quartus. So here, like Just like a quick one, do you like prefer it over like Proskinion, for example, or do you just think Quartis is just the better one? Like there was time people played Proskinion over this card, but do you think like Quartis is just much better than Proskinion?
At least at the moment, I think so. The thing with Queritus is that if you summon it of like Grenguignol, there is a nice thing many Snake Eye players don't know. It isn't like properly summoned, so if it gets removed by for example, the Celantis, it won't come back, and then you just can summon a Fallen of Albas and yeah, prevent the OTK like that, which yeah, it didn't come up this tournament. It came up in testing and in some tournaments before, but yeah, it's really nice. Also, sometimes you just need this to live. Um, yeah. So at the moment, I think like especially with the Snake Eye OTK running around, it's a better card to play
Yep.
than Proskinion.
And then you have double Albion. That's like a standard. We don't need to talk about this. So the border load, like I think it's like in over almost every deck list. But what's your experience with this card? Like, do you think like there's alternatives like Magnum the Reliever, or like I saw maybe some people decide like to play double Chimera, or do you think like border load is just like the better card over like those two options overall?
I feel like it's yeah, I feel like it's the best option. Um, Yeah, the only like I wouldn't really play a second Guardian Chimera. Um, for me, Guardian Chimera was like the card. I think I made it only once in the whole tournament, and that wasn't even for the effect, just because I needed a target I could use it to. Um, the reliever, um, the problem I feel like with that is that you need to have a trigger for it, so you can just use it. But the Furious, like in your standard turn, you just where you puppet lock them and have like Windbroom with an Albus engrave. Um, when they like set back row to maybe try and grind you out after you puppet lock them, in end phase you can just go Windbroom, summon your Albus, fuse away the puppet and Albus into Lubellion, and with Lubellion you recycle like for example Titaniclad and an Albion, and then you just have your Furious and can out their back row that way, which is also a nice way to play around like the Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. So yeah, it just makes you way safer into things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you have double Grank, So like a lot of people are like still on one Grank. Like there's just a debate right now whether to play one or two. So how do you feel like about playing two Grank, over like one, for example?
I feel like it's pretty much absolutely mandatory. Most of the time, you go through the first one in your starting turn and then through the second in your opponent's turn. Um, it's feels way better to have the setup because if you only play one, you probably would need to set the puppet in your turn already. But if you then you probably then don't get to send the Titaniclad, and Titaniclad is most of the time your access to Quem. And yeah, Quem just makes your board way stronger and way stickier. So I really prefer that line. So for me, at least, True Gwen Gugnol is mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. And then you play Dracos Tapelia. So this card like a lot of people still play it, but did you make like this card this tournament at all? Like I think personally for me, I almost like never made it nowadays. But did you have like a did it came up for you a lot, or would you just cut it for another card?
This is like, yeah, this is probably one of the cards you could cut. I made it once to like it's not the nicest thing of it for it is that it's an easy card to recycle other cards and still get an interrupt out of it. Um, but I think I made it twice the whole tournament, and those were in spots where I already had won and just needed something to fuse into. So yeah, it's it's nice to have it, but since there's like the like there's no pretty much no flunder or something like that anymore where this is like one of your better interrupts. It's probably not mandatory. The only thing would probably be that like I didn't get shifted this tournament, but if you get shifters, this is also like one of the plays you can make, so it's still nice,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like.
Okay, and then for the last card in the extra deck, you play one Albalenatus. So why did you choose like Albalenatus over Masquerade for the last extra deck spot? And then you can probably feel like Masquerade for another side export. Or did you feel like you needed Albalenatus specifically for Tempai, for example?
Yeah, so Aurelionatus is really nice. Yeah, it sometimes just solo wins you the Tempai matchup, but also since Snake Eye mostly go for the board with Appaloosa, Flamberge, and Hope Harbinger. Against that board, you can just summon or even set an Albas, fuse away Hope Harbinger and Flamberge, and get to the Albalinatus. And if after that, you can with Albalinatus, like they will probably just summon back their things, but then the Albalinatus can beat over Appaloosa and two other cards from them, and then they like have not much left, and you can probably play through that. So yeah, I feel like with the Snake Eye deck making that specific board, it's pretty much mandatory to play it. Yeah,
Yep. Okay, sounds
it's
like a really
also
nice use. Yep.
yeah. Also, I played against like Centurion, and there it's also really nice because with the new synchro they have, their whole end board is also just dragons, and yeah, you can just use away everything they make.
Yep, that sounds like a really nice use. It's not only used against Tepa, you also like find the use against it like against Snake Eye. It just comes up so unexpected that like one
Yeah,
Albas just outs the whole board. And
yeah,
yeah.
really good.
Okay, so like one of the last questions like for the deck is like what so like the two options like some people like actually consider for their deck is like would you play Ad Libitum and then like probably Dark Magician in the Dragoon package anywhere in your list? Or do you think like those cards are just not good at the moment? So what do you think about like these two for example?
Um, I think like I feel like you don't like for example ad libitum. I don't think you ever need it. It's without ad libitum you already can like make triple mirror jade if in your if you have a good hand because Krem reborns it, Albion reborns it, and then you have the first time it's already on the field. So I feel like it's yeah, it would come up so little that it's like never needed, and it's also another brick you probably don't want. So for Dark Magician, it's also like um, you set up your board already with a puppet and all the interrupts you have. I don't feel like you need Dragoon ever. And yeah, Dark Magician is just a card you never really want to draw, and so yeah, I just didn't don't want to yeah add any bricks to my deck that I like never want to see in my opening hand. So I don't think they're needed. So I wouldn't play them at the moment.
Yep, sounds good. So do you have like any shoutouts before we like end the profile?
Yeah, sure. Uh, yeah, shout out to you for helping me build and yeah learn the deck. Shout outs also to Raul Sanders who also helped me especially in the start learning the deck. Shout out to the Turbas group, who is always traveling to events with me and talking about Yu-Gi-Oh with me. Um, yeah,
Yep, sounds nice. Appreciate the help, and I'm glad you did this result. We actually did a lot of testing, and yeah, it got. I'm glad it actually paid off.
yeah, it paid off really good.
Yep. So yeah, so yeah, that's it for this deck profile, and see ya.